Most platforms show training completions.
Yes, y'all. That was awesome. Happy Juneteenth, especially to Black Americans who has lineage that ties themselves to the areas of Texas that was affected by being let go late from slave trade. We honor everybody that has gone through being enslaved here in America. We're all one people. And I want us to support one another moving forward because we have a lot of people that is interested in destroying our ability to represent ourselves and destroy our ability to have our own narrative that's producing what we desire for our present tense and our future tense for our kids and our cousins and nephews and grandkids and every other person that's related to you. We're going to talk today about Ghana. And I've been knowing for a long time that there was going to be a time that Ghana was going to have to be dealt with. And that time is now. Ghana is running around now going to have 80 different countries having a gathering talking about reparations that should not even be talked about with them. These people were involved in the slave trade. They're trying to clean themselves off and act like they did not have a role that they played in the slave trade. They're acting as if they are heroes, running around getting fake awards for things that was staged in America, in particular in New York at the United Nations. When back in March 25th, this now president, Mahama, stood on a platform declaring that he was claiming ancestors without anyone's blessing, anyone's consent, anyone's desire, acting in true essence of what these Africans, not all, but the ones that are coming after us and trying to colonize us, trying to play like he's trying to colonize us now in real time. I believe that if Trump was not in office, that they would have really done a lot of damage and attempts to really disrespect us and bogart us and try to overwhelm us from having our say. And we're finding that today we have the Democrats that have enabled and emboldened Ghana's President Mahama and others like President Addo back before he became president again for this agenda that they have and given us unto Africans, again, against our will, against our consent, but lining us up as if we're about to be colonized by these people. And thus far, we do not have proper representation to stop the momentum of what they think they want to do. So today we're going to discuss what's going on with Ghana today. They did a lengthy little conversation about reparations and what do you call it? A reconciliation type of talk. Ain't nobody put nothing underneath the bridge. Nobody's forgiven nobody of nothing. And again, I do not claim to be African or have any affiliation with Africa. Many of us that believe that we're indigenous to America would like to be left alone and not pestered, not harassed, not gang stalked like Africans and immigrants all over the place are doing currently. And you could tell it's a real phenomenon because, maybe 2 weeks from now, June 30th, there's supposed to be the uprooting of other African nationals out of South Africa. And nobody is really tripping about what's about to go down. But everybody is so consumed and obsessed over Black Americans. And we're going to get to the gist of what that's all about. Let me see. Who is helping us establish our narrative from Pan-Africans? And yes, Pan-Africans are our enemies. They are sworn enemies of us. They have sided with the Boule and the immigrants to make us the enemy when dealing with our choices of being who we say we've been. Like everybody is trying to ridicule us for accepting our identity as being American. And they're trying to say that we have a lot of mental issues if we do not declare ourselves as being related to Africans. And so they're playing a lot of different games with us, a lot of head manipulation going on. And I really feel, like I've said, that we have got to get a international lawyer that will represent us collectively for a class action suit against President Mahama of Ghana, against the Democrats, against the Urban League, against the NAACP, against the Congressional Black Caucus. Everybody that's in our way, prohibiting us from having our say in our life as we have had previous to all these Pan-Africans that have been attacking and staging different stunts for them to get attention on our behalf without our consent. So the first part I want to get to, let me just read to y'all what's really going on. I thought that this was really fascinating for you guys to get. And later on, I will be talking about Larry Reid, who is a down low, allegedly, pastor who decided to make a live talking about Black Americans or Black folks need to go to Africa. And I'm so sick of these people speaking on our behalf when nobody told him to speak and say anything. All Larry Reid had to do was take his bitch ass, bootsy ass to Africa and take his congregation, take his lovers, take whoever else want to follow behind the dumbness of the pastor, this fake, phony, religious, righteous man, Larry Reid. We'll talk about him a little bit later because I have a couple of words for him. But first, let me see. Let me find this conversation about President Mahama before we get going. By the way, if you guys could, please hit that like button. I'm not coming on as much as I used to because I don't have the support, and it's okay. I'm on TikTok now. For those that want to look for me, you can find me under _black00 on TikTok. There's a lot more action going on over there. There's a lot more people going over there. There's a lot more people that is pliable to want to work with one another over there than they are here on YouTube. I don't know what's going on with the people on YouTube, but they just want to be popularized. They want to have their own little slice of pie and be popular and have their ego and their own set of people that's supporting them. And they don't care about unifying and doing nothing else. So that's why I have to do something new. But let me read this real quick before I get going. Ghana hosted a landmark global reparations conference in Accra from June 17th to June 19th, 2026, welcoming leaders, diplomats, experts from more than 80 countries to establish a framework for reparatory justice. The 3-day event, titled The Next Steps Conference, concluded on June 19th, with a historic commemorative ceremony at Christiansborg Castle. This event marked the first time Juneteenth was officially observed extraterritorial outside the United States, the first attempt to colonize Juneteenth to Ghana. And this is what they continue to want to do. They feel like they are not going to be told to not do whatever they're doing because they think that they have a right to just step on our toes and bogart and snatch up whatever they desire because that's the spirit in which they have been dealing in. Like, think about it. All these Africans with the slave trade for hundreds of years would steal people out of their village, out of their bed in the thickness of the night, not caring about the kids being separated, not caring about people crying and upset, not caring about people's consent. They just snatched them up and made quick dollars. In the same vein, this President Mahama, who's affiliated with the Ganja tribe, Gonja, for those that want to look it up, and that's how they are. They think that snatching people up and doing however you want to do to them is okay because you're superior. You're the better and stronger tribe. That's what they rock with. And this is why I have an issue with Ghana. I have an issue with Pan-Africans. I have an issue with Africans that believe that they should have authority over Black Americans because of a long time ago perception that they dominated the slaves. They were powerful. They took them against their will. Now they want to act as if they're trying to capture us once again by playing all these different stunts, going to the UN, going to the memorial ground that was called Negro Burial Ground before in New York, before 1993 for hundreds of years. And out of the blue, someone gave the bright idea to change the Negro Burial Ground to African Burial Ground in 1993. And now March 26 rolls around. He goes to the burial ground. He claims that those people, those bones, those slain people or people that have passed are now suddenly his people to do as he wills to do. To claim them, forget about the people that's living with those ancestors in the ground. He didn't have to go ask nobody nothing. He just took it upon himself to act like he got the authority to just do what the fuck he wants to do because he's African and he's superior in his mind over Black Americans. And I have a problem with this guy because I'm not his property, I'm not his slave, and I'm not his kind. And I don't want no affiliations with people that's running around acting like this. So I'm looking for a lawyer that's going to bar and block President Mahama and others that's in coercion or cahooting together to get in the way of my sovereignty as being an American. I'm under the jurisdiction of America. And we have a foreigner coming all the way to America and just desiring to just take at will whatever he wants to take and claim whatever he wants to claim without nobody saying nothing. Well, I'm saying something. People are saying something, but we together, collectively, have to get a lawyer to say the words I'm trying to say right now, which is you are ceased and desisted. You are not welcome to represent us on any matter pertaining to our ancestors, pertaining to us, pertaining to our children and our kids and nephews, whatever, family. Nobody authorized you, President Mahama. Nobody offered and asked for Pan-Africans milling around and putting themselves in our business. Nobody asked the Democrats to do any of this stuff, but they desired to concoct a plan behind the scenes with Ghana and everybody that I'm speaking on to just intrude and bring about gang stalking on social media. Instead of asking us something to be told no, they have millions and hundreds of thousands of other melanated people that are from the Caribbean and from Africa harassing and gang stalking Black Americans about what? About our identity. Nobody is cornering Haitians. Nobody's cornering Jamaicans or other Africans, interrogating them and bullying them and gang stalking them and demanding that they see themselves as African. Just Black Americans. We are being targeted. We're being treated as if we don't have rights. We're being treated as if we're property now given over and given away to Africa. And I have a real issue with that. So for those that have not been listening or watching my channel in a while, I am looking currently for a lawyer to represent 1,000 of us who are indigenous to America, who do not have immigrant ties, and they want to have representation so that we can preserve and control our narrative moving forward, because everybody else is speaking in front of us. Everybody's acting like, oh yeah, they just make a video and put African American on it, Black American on it. Oh yeah, millions of them want to go back to Africa. And people are running around with this idea that that's what we are saying, and it's not the truth. It's called propaganda. It's called these people are trying to destiny swap us out of America and replace us with immigrants and other Africans to come in our place and have us go to Africa or be obligated to Africa or act like that's what we're supposed to be thinking on. But ain't nobody's thinking on Africa, not even the Africans. These people, they have gathered together 80 different countries. Think about that. And they did not desire to talk about, hey, we're on our own kind of like right now. We can't get USAID no more. We're very hard pressed to get any type of grants or loans from United States and other provisions that was provided before. Why don't we just get together, all 54 states of us, 54 countries of us, and strategize and figure out how we need to move forward before the next year comes up? No, they don't have that. They don't have that to say. All they have to say is, what are the Black Americans doing? And this obsession and this wretchedness that they have within them is why we have to defend them and defeat them from having any more say in our life, because too much is going on. Let me read some more. It says the next steps high level consultative conference took place June 17th through 19. Accra, Ghana. Proceedings were held at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Kempinski Hotel in the historic Christiansborg Osu Castle, a former major slave trading. What I've noticed about these people is that they only feel emboldened to do stuff when they talk about the slave trade. They can't do nothing on their own without reliving and trying to resurrect the thought of slave trade. That's how we know that these people are not our people, and they're not sorry for what they've ever done in the slave trade. They're just sorry that they did not advance enough over there in Ghana. They're upset that they don't have high railroads and trains and buses and running water and streets that are all the way done and drainage that's fixed from having all these floods that they continually have. That's what they're sorry about. And they think that they can just make and force us into being a part of what they're about, whether we like it or not. And again, capturing us against our will. And this is what we have to fight back against. Now, these attendees, heads of state, came from across Africa, Senegal, Namibia, Liberia, Prime Minister Mia Amour Motley of Barbados, and thousands of experts and delegates from over 80 countries in Africa, the Caribbean, and the broader diaspora. Major outcomes and demands. It says a global framework. Delegates formally endorsed a 19-point global framework for reparatory justice, which calls for financial compensation, formal apologies from nations that benefited from slavery, and debt relief. They're not talking about Black Americans, though, but they're using our claim to reparations to try to hijack it, colonize it to benefit themselves. And I'm just so confused why people think that Africa is decent people. They're not decent at all. They're trying to be colonizers right now. That's how they're moving. 3 commissions. The conference led to the creation of an advisory panel on reparatory justice, an expert panel on restitution of cultural artifacts, and a legal panel to provide intellectual and technical support. Artifact return. The push includes specific frameworks to expedite the return of looted cultural heritage and historical archives back to their countries of origin. Now, speaking of the Juneteenth, it says that because the final day of the summit coincided with Juneteenth, leaders held a wreath-laying ceremony at USU Castle to honor the victims of the transatlantic slave trade. Organizers highlighted that it was the first time the historical emancipation holiday was celebrated on such a massive scale on the African continent. You can follow future developments and access the official conference outcome documents by visiting the Reparations 2026 official platforms. So what I want to do now is I want to show y'all a little bit of what was stated at this, just to reiterate to y'all. It's not a figment of my imagination. These people are coming to try to take from us, as they've been trying to do since a couple of years ago, when President Addo of Ghana declared first to do with our reparations. And I called it before he did it. I saw the play with Dr. Ericana Chia-Holbrain-Quao, who was a ambassador to the African Union. And she was running around telling Black Americans that we should want to help build up Africa. And I felt in my spirit that something was off about her as a UN ambassador. Come to find out, she got fired back in 2019 for alleged fraud. I talked about that on numerous occasions to reiterate that a lot of these people are just scammers. They're grifters. They don't care about nobody and nothing. They just have a good game to use about all the plight of Africa and we need to build and build up. They're looking to try to make us into debt slaves for the development of Africa. And they want some dummies who want to serve Africans to actually go to Africa and give up everything that they got towards bettering Africa. And never mind if you become unalived. Never mind if you get malaria and get unalived. Never mind if you can't stay and pay after so much time has passed because there's no job opportunities and then you have to leave and walk away. Because when you leave and walk away, everything that you've done in Africa will all go to the Africans. See how that works? Hey, what's up, Purple Rain? How are you doing? Thank you for being here. And what's up, Prince? You said 67. What's 67 mean? You said my wrench is gone? Where'd it go? I can see you with a wrench right now. You don't see the wrench? I see you, Purple Rain, with a wrench right now. Okay, so now let me just do this. We're going to play a little bit of what happened today, I believe. Again, talking about reparations, you'll hear all the phoniness and they going through all this, acting the part out. You don't have mod? You don't? Let me see. I have you as a standard moderator. Let me try to do it again and see if it works. Let me see. Say something again. You can't do anything? Oh, wow. I don't know why that is. That's odd. Because I call myself removing you right now. Damn, I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on. Because you look like a mod as far as I can see. You're in blue and everything. That's odd. So you can't do nothing? Man, I'm not doing it. I don't know what's going on. I'm sorry about that. But you know what? While I think about that, let's play a little bit of what happened. Can you see stuff? Can you at least read what's going on right now? That's really odd. Oh, you can read at least. You just don't have no power. That's really odd. Can you come back another name? And I can make you a mod that way? And while I do that, I'll let us hear what happened. This video was done a day ago. And this talks about the high-level Next Steps Conference in Reparations Justice in Ghana. You're going to hear President Mahama speak and others during this segment of the video. I hope that you guys, that's really odd, man. I did not do anything. I'm sorry about that.
I was Ghana Mampani, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yura Samuel Okujita Blapa, Gino Baba, I don't know Yura Kempiski has seen or not. Ya Ecoso, Ewaha, Enina, say, Ubekaya, Babusumi and Seni, and a Ghana Mampany, Eco Presenti, and Simbi, Edico to United Nations, when him say, a yes, slave trader, a course who ever be Brimuhano, woman, Penum, say, and Bonifosem, na yen treating a say, a Mumuyosem Bakwan, Yaye, Nafi, but a beer who here say was some of the mano, a 1 year. And I'm sorry, or so a year, I do my dear, woman to me, and I'm so Ama, woman, Eddie Ama. And I'm so Emma, United Nations, edges, and send me to me.
Mind y'all, look at all these people. Look at all these people that have flooded the zone to support them talking about our reparations, y'all. They're all in on it. We are being attacked. We are being gang stalked, and we're being pestered by all these people. Look at all these people, y'all. Don't make no sense. They can gather together to talk shit about us, but they can't do this any other time.
Abibria Maina, Ghana Mampany, Idiomanim, Abomodia, Ediomina, Abishia, Kempiski has. And Umbeduan Babai, na Omahe, Tisia, and Yadiatumuno, Quine Bay, and Yadi Faso, Diana Yayo, Abusia, Ghana News TV, so when you go out here, and send me and Oma Tunidi's next steps. We a high-level consultative conference on the next steps to the landmark United Nations resolution on the trafficking of enslaved Africans. Interbusia, we know Nansa and Omdi Egu or Enra, Omosha say, and Omo Etwas. I had more chance on Omaku Pimu, Ewo, Sukaso, Na, Yohono, Omdia Twasulabusia, and a Mampany Abedudia, Na Yanko, Nienche, Inti near Corso. Ghana News TV soon when you go out and meeting. And then Nana, Sefa and Bubu Metro sending the car about him here. Now, was subscribing, watch the video. Eddie Amame.
National Anthem of the Republic of Ghana, Kokwi Salome Hansen.
No, we're not doing that. Hell no. The fuck? They African, but they ain't singing their own music. Gotta sing. They gotta sing, what is it? Classic? Italian? The fuck? These people don't know who they want to be. They don't even respect their own damn selves. Oh, Lord, listen to this, y'all. Listen to this. Here we go.
Toil without compassion or compensation, and whose shoulders we now stand on to build, share, and learn for our Let us pray. Almighty God, the Father of all nature, alone hold the full weight of history in your hands. We acknowledge also the original stewards, the ancestors, elders, and stalwarts of our homelands herein gathered, who toiled without compassion or compensation, and whose shoulders we now stand on to build, share, and learn for our collective liberation and sovereignty, as we deliberate on the next steps to the landmark United Nations resolution on the trafficking of enslaved Africans. We pray you grant our distinguished leaders gathered in this room the courage that does not shrink from hard truths, courage to speak what must be said and do what must be done, even when the path is uncomfortable and the cost is high. Bring healing, not the kind that rushes to forget the nations of the world that their ancestors mattered. And finally, O God, bind us in unity across across continents, across differences, and may we live here united by the shared conviction that every or never again shall the dignity of any human being be treated, commodified, or erased. May wisdom lead every word, may integrity guard every decision, and may history remember this moment not merely as a conference, but as a turning point. This we pray of thee, thou great God.
Bitch, this ain't no turning point. This is a wake-up call. We're waking up to your fucking shenanigans. Here he is, fakely allowing prayer, talking about reconciliation and all this fakery that they're doing. Ain't nobody united with your bitch ass. We want nothing to do with you, President Mahama. We want you to leave us the fuck alone and our ancestors. We want you to go the fuck away. Can you see it now? You said, is this the reparations conference? Yeah, it is. They just did it today or yesterday. Sheena, is your moderator now working?
All nations in faith and with thanksgiving. Amen.
It is with profound honor and great pleasure that I welcome you all on behalf of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana, an African Union champion on reparatory justice, to Accra for this defining high-level Next Steps Conference on reparatory justice. Your Excellencies, permit me at the outset to express Ghana's deepest appreciation to each of you for accepting President Mahama's invitation and traveling from across Africa, the Caribbean, the Americas, Europe, Asia, and beyond to participate in this historic gathering. Your presence here is not only testament to the growing international commitment to reparatory justice, but also a powerful affirmation that the pursuit of historical truth, human dignity, and collective justice remains a shared responsibility of the global community. The march for reparatory justice has never seen this momentum. This is our moment. Victory is on the horizon. Our ancestors and posterity will be proud of our collective resolve. It is remarkable that exactly to this day, on the 18th of June, 1824, our ancestors chalked their first history in the British Parliament when the Parliament was compelled to pass the Consolidated Slave Trade Act, which formally declared slavery illegal. It is also fortuitous that it is this same week, the 19th of June, in 1864, that the last batch of slaves were declared free in the United States of America. So we have won many battles. We won the battle against slavery. We won the battle against colonialism. We won the battle against apartheid.
You see how dumb he sounds? The last batch of slaves. They don't have an issue about slave trade. They're just upset that they're not recognized. No one is looking towards them for anything. Nobody uplifts their whoever they think they are there in Ghana. We're not your ancestors, Ghana. We do not claim you. I don't care what other people might say in other places, but here in America, millions of us do not give a damn about you. He said, did you hear him say we? Yeah, let me go back a little bit more. He said the last batch. Now, if he was really sincere, he'd be talking about the slave trade that's still going on over there in Ghana. They still have little boys that's jumping in the water trying to get stuff or try to get gold or other minerals and also dig for cocoa and all that kind of stuff. It's still going on. Modern day slavery is still going on. These people are just trying to pretend like they're like everybody else. The past is the past with slave trade. And now they're trying to be righteous and honorable people, and they're not. These are the same people that do what they normally do, which is steal from others, take from others for which they have not earned. Let's go back.
When the Parliament was compelled to pass the Consolidated Slave Trade Act, which formally declared slavery illegal. It is also fortuitous that it is this same week, the 19th of June, in 1864, that the last batch of slaves were declared free in the United States of America. So we have won many battles. We won the battle against slavery. We won the battle against colonialism. We won the battle against apartheid. And we are confident that we shall win the battle against reparatory injustice. We shall win that battle.
The President of the Republic of Ghana, and also the African Union champion for advancing the cause of justice and reparations of Africans and people of the African descent, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Their crust? Incredible.
Yep, and now stuffed crust is part of Domino's best deal ever. Talk about incredible.
Here at Terry Vice Ranch, we have about
descent, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Let me acknowledge my colleagues, heads of states, and thank you all for making the journey to join us here in Accra for this all-important conference, The Next Steps. I want to also commend and express my appreciation to all who have spoken this morning, including our revered writer and playwright, Wole Soyinka, and also to acknowledge all the members of the diplomatic corps, our traditional rulers, members of the Council of State, and everybody who has come to join us for this all-important conference. Today, Accra becomes the meeting place of history, conscience, and responsibility. We gather not merely to discuss the past, but to determine how humanity responds to one of the greatest crimes ever committed against the people. We gather because history has summoned us to complete a conversation that began centuries ago and remains.
And yes, he did say we, because he's trying to take credit for what we've done. That's what these lying ass, destiny swapping ass vampires are attempting to do. He said we because he's trying to act like whatever our ancestors did, they did it for the better good of them. My ancestors weren't thinking about Uganda. My ancestors weren't thinking about Africans. They were thinking about survival. They were thinking about their kids. They were thinking about their moms and their family members in America. They weren't trying to harpen back to Africa, but they're trying to create a narrative that they have all collaborated around with this notion of what our ancestors did, they actually did for everyone that is declared as being African. And they're trying to make our ancestors African, whether we like that or not. Even though our ancestors were called Negro, Many were called also an Indian, American Indian. Some of those were called colored, mulatto, Afro-American, Black American, freedmen, which they have nothing to do with. But because they have a sinister situation that they're trying to pull off, they're saying we as if we're one and we're all the same when nobody has told them that that's what we want. This is what we have to go against on what this president and other Pan-Africans and other Africans are attempting to do. You can't force me and my ancestors to have any dealings with you. You're nobody to me. You're way over there in Africa. You should be tending to the Africans over there in South Africa that are being beat up. You went and gathered up a little bit over 300, I believe, maybe a couple of times you did. But there's far more other Ghanaians that are everywhere else but Ghana that this President Mahama needs to be worrying about. But instead, he's destiny swapping us out of our narrative, out of our ancestors, out of our history, out of everything attached to us. He's trying to make it all about Africa. Why? Because these motherfuckers never accomplished anything. Their whole entire life has been a failure. They've been tied to the hip of slave trade. They are cursed people. And then they got done dirty by the white man that they were revering and worshiping. And now they want to try to come back to us like they're trying to get away from the white man when you're collaborating with the white man, when all these things that he's put you up to do is by his grace that you doing it. The Democrats, the small hats, George Soros, even heard Epstein's, what's his name? Epstein files, or Epstein guy that unalived in jail. Let me show y'all something before I continue, because I thought this was interesting. I went on TikTok yesterday, and there is a YouTuber by the name of Janice who did a very interesting live, or not live, but a video that I want to now play real quick.
Your ancestors' land of what they...
Listen to this. She said a lot right here. I want you to hear what the African Union has been going about doing, how they're connected to the Epstein guy. What's his name? Jeffrey Epstein. Listen to this.
Try to leave for you is good movement. All motion is good motion. You take the first step, your ancestors, their spirit will join in on you and give you lots of information. You just never know how this will work out for you and your family. Anyway, the African Union is a military. Okay? So, last year when I was pointing out the 6 region information, I showed simultaneously some Epstein flight records. And on these Epstein flight logs, there was Bill Clinton and some other people on Epstein plane headed to Africa. 2002. Lo and behold, that 2002 meeting was the official organization of the African Union, the OAU. This OAU would be who the military is through. So, that African Union meeting in 2002, Epstein plane, Bill Clinton, Epstein is funding all this stuff, of course. Do I have some pictures of Bill Clinton in that meeting? I did put some pictures of Bill Clinton in that meeting on the flyer here. So, the AU planned Continental Military Force is called the African Standby Force, the ASF. This is Epstein, Bill Clinton, African Union's military. Okay? All the agreements were done by 2004. And in 2004, they had 15,000 plus troops, men, women, and children. People that was down for whatever. Now, 2002, let's keep up with the timeline. 2002 established, 2004, all of the funding and everything went in. Also, Pan-Africanism ramped up, and we're going to get to that. By 2016, the ASF was declared fully operational by the United Nations. Okay? Now, I'm going to tell you that they have 5 regions. 5 regions. The North African region, which is called NARC. West African, which is ECOWAS Standby Force, Economic Community of West African States. Central Africa, ECCAS, Economic Community of Central African States. This is a military now, okay? East Africa, Eastern African Standby Force. And Southern Africa, SADC Standby Force, Southern African Development Community. Now, we was talking about the 6th region on last year. Lo and behold, the 6th region of Africa was proposed in 2003, 1 year after Bill Clinton took his ass over there to Africa on Epstein plane. Okay? So it was proposed in 2003. The African Union amended its founding documents to propose the 6th region. So all of these regions, when you hear the African Union speak of regions, they're talking about their military force. And they do all kinds of drills, all kinds of military operations, from intelligence to all kinds of stuff, guys. So the 6 regions are the 5 that I listed: North Africa, West Africa, Central Africa, East Africa, Southern Africa, and the 6th being the Africa Diaspora. The 6th region includes African Americans, Afro-Cubans, Afro-Latino Americans, Black Canadians, Black Europeans, Afro-Arabs living outside of Africa, descendants of enslaved Africans, and African immigrants and other descendants around the world. Those are people who descended from continental Africans. Their parents are continental African, and they just moved somewhere. They're the last part of the 6th region. So now that we know the 6th region had nothing to do with people who were actually African living outside of the place, but it just was for all darkies all over the world. A military now. Okay. So it was proposed in 2004. It didn't take shape. It didn't start taking shape until 2016. Now, the thing of this is we have no clue, because from per this document, it's saying that per this document, they have filmmakers, politicians, intelligence gathering, militia forces, or standby forces, all a part of this military. Essentially, the Africans want to be a military force over Black Americans. And I'm just saying Black Americans, there's a lot of people included in: Black Brits, Black Canadians, people in the Caribbean. So now we need to see who all is who. Because if you have people that are already strategically placed, that would definitely verify to me why is so much vitriol and negativity picking at us, thrown our way from all of these Africans. Why there's so much combined negativity. That would to me it would expose their cards. I see why they're all on one accord. Your ancestors' land of what they tried to leave for you is good movement. All motion is good motion. You take the first step, your ancestors, their spirit will join in on you and give you lots of information. You just never know how this will work out for you and your family. Anyway, the African Union is a military. Okay? So, last year when I was pointing out the 6 region information, I showed simultaneously some Epstein flight records. And on these Epstein flight logs, there was Bill Clinton and some other people on Epstein plane headed to Africa. 2002. Lo and behold, that 2002 meeting was the official organization of the African Union, the OAU. This OAU would be who the military is through. So, that African Union meeting in 2002, Epstein plane, Bill Clinton, Epstein is funding all this stuff, of course. Do I have some pictures of Bill Clinton in that meeting? I did put some pictures of Bill Clinton in that meeting on the flyer here. So, the AU planned Continental Military Force is called the African Standby Force, the ASF. This is Epstein, Bill Clinton, African Union's military. Okay? All the agreements were done by 2004. And in 2004, they had 15,000 plus troops, men, women, and children. People that was down for whatever. Now, 2002, let's keep up with the timeline. 2002 established, 2004, all of the funding and everything went in. Also, Pan-Africanism ramped up, and we're going to get to that. By 2016, the ASF was declared fully operational by the United Nations. Okay?
I just want you guys to catch that. They've been working a long time now to try to organize the African Union that was pretty much paid for by the European Union. That's who pays for the African Union. And they decided back in 2003 to just group the name African American and anyone in America attached to that name as being a part of their Region 6. Again, it was not done by our consent. It was not given any consideration of whether or not we would like to be included in that. They just took it upon themselves just to put us there and have other things that they've been doing, again, outside of our knowledge. And that's why they have been emboldened to do much, much more as far as snatching up our history and our holidays and trying to colonize it, because they're trying to take us over. These people are trying to take us over. Now, it says, what is the 6th region? It says it is just not in symbolic gesture for those that say, oh, it's just symbolic. It's a formal recognition within the AU structure. It encompasses millions of people with ancestral ties to Africa, residing in countries around the globe. This includes those born abroad to African parents, descendants of enslaved Africans, and recent immigrants. They say it's a diverse group with a shared heritage and a vested interest in Africa's future. I want to ask the question, if somebody doesn't want to be tied to the African Union, what should they do to make sure that they're not tied to the African Union? Okay, the African Union, 6th region declares persons outside Africa are included. And I'm about to ask AI and see what they say. What if, for instance, Black Americans doesn't want to be included in region. Let's see. What shall we do? What should we do? It didn't really answer the question. What is this doing? Okay, this is not the right phone to use. I don't know. It didn't even answer the question. But my point is that they've been working on this for a while now, and they feel like they have more than enough support just to make us do what they desire by, the gang stalking and the bullying that you're seeing on social media every day. And I think that we should block and bar these people from having access to claim us anymore. And the only way that you can deal with something like this is to basically get in front of it, get proper representation of a lawyer that can adhere to the Constitution and adhere to us being sovereign citizens and whatnot, and basically combat what they think they're about to do against us, because this is insane. I'm gonna play a little bit more, but you get my drift, that these people are totally obsessed and consumed with this idea that they have to get in front and regulate and pretend and appear like they are leading our narrative. This is what I don't like. I don't like this assumption that's being given to them to look like they're leading anything pertaining to me. I don't want my name attached to them at all. I don't want anything given over to them. It's pretty wicked. You said they want to colonize us. Yes, they do. We need to be fighting this. I'm saying that too, exactly. You said this is why all them babies be disappearing in Africa. Whoa. Tahanka says, get them immigrants out of our government because they are one that are pushing this on our behalf. Yeah, they definitely are doing that.
I wish to warmly welcome all participants who have traveled from around the world to take part in this conference. Your presence here reflects a shared recognition that the issues before us transcend national boundaries and speak instead to our common humanity, our shared history, and our collective responsibility to future generations. On 25th September 2025 last year, I stood before the United Nations General Assembly and announced Ghana's intention to introduce a resolution declaring the traffic of enslaved Africans as the gravest crime against humanity. At that time, it was a bold proposition. It was ambitious, necessary, but uncertain in its outcome. It was rooted in our conviction that humanity must confront this history with greater honesty and clarity, not merely because of what happened centuries ago, but because of the enduring consequences that continue to shape societies and communities across the world, even today. There was no certainty that such a proposition would command broad international support. And yet, exactly 6 months later, on 25th of March 2026, the United Nations General Assembly addressed that proposition. And by a decisive majority, member states adopted Resolution A/RES 80/250, marking a historic step in the international community's acknowledgement of the scale, brutality, and enduring consequences of the trafficking of enslaved Africans and of racialized chattel enslavement. But before proceeding further, I wish to express my profound appreciation to all the 123 member states that supported the resolution. As well as to the many institutions, scholars, civil society organizations, faith leaders, activists, and advocates whose dedication over many years made its adoption possible. Their efforts contributed significantly to creating the conditions for a more honest and constructive global conversation. For Ghana, this effort is not just an exercise in diplomacy. It is a moral obligation that is rooted in our history, our identity, and our responsibility as a nation, whose shores hold both the tragedy of departure and the hope of return. We do not seek to reopen old wounds, we seek to heal those wounds. We do not seek division, we seek justice and understanding and reconciliation grounded in the truth. And at the same time, the significance of this conference lies not only in the support that made the resolution possible, but also in the willingness of a broader community of nations and institutions to engage in the work that follows. The pursuit of historical justice is not strengthened by narrowing the circle of participation. It is strengthened by expanding it. It is strengthened when those who may approach these issues from different historical, political, or legal perspectives nevertheless choose dialogue over silence and engagement over distance. In that spirit, I urge all participants gathered here today to approach our deliberations with openness, humility, and a shared commitment to advancing human dignity. Distinguished guests, the adoption of the resolution was never intended to mark the end of the journey. It was intended to provide the foundation for a more meaningful process of engagement, reflection, and action. Less than 3 months after its adoption, we're here in Accra to address the question that naturally follows. What are the next steps? We're here because recognition creates responsibility, and because the enduring consequences of this history continue to demand thoughtful, coordinated, and sustained international engagement. It is fitting that we meet in Ghana. A few places in the world bear such vivid physical testimony to this history as our country. From Elmina in the central region and Cape Coast to Asin Manso and Osu, our land holds some of the most visible reminders of a system that uprooted millions of Africans and altered the course of world history. Not too far from where we're gathered today stands castles, dungeons, and the doors of no return, through which countless Africans passed before disappearing over the horizon. For many, that horizon marked the end of everything they knew. And yet today, the descendants of those journeys have returned, not in chains, but as presidents, as prime ministers, as scholars, as jurists, as activists, as historians and citizens of the world. History has brought us full circle. These historic sites connect Africa to the Caribbean, to North and South America, and to communities across the globe whose histories and identities were shaped by this shared experience. We therefore gather not only as representatives of our states, but as partners in a common effort to confront the enduring legacies of this history and to build a future that is greater than the past that we have inherited. As we reflect on this history, it is important to remember that the experience of enslavement was not borne equally by all who endured it. While millions of African men, women, and children suffered the violence and indignity of the transatlantic slave trade, the experiences of women and girls were marked by forms of brutality that have too often been marginalized in the historical record. History remembers the names of the ships, the merchants, and the trading companies. Yet far too often it forgets the woman whose body became a site of exploitation, or the mother standing on the shore uncertain whether she would ever see her child again. For many enslaved women, exploitation did not end just with providing labor. Their bodies themselves became instruments of economic extraction. Their capacity to bear children was transformed into a means of reproducing bondage across generations. Their suffering was often concealed from the official record, leaving them victims not only of the institution, but also of historical erasure. And so today we must also pay.
He has a lot of nerve to be talking about historical erasure when his tribe were to be blamed for the slave trade and the capturing of slaves. That's what makes this really hideous. It's as if you would want the small hats to somehow have a family reunion with the Nazis. Would you guys ever fathom having small hats unify with the Germans to have some type of collaboration or some reunion and some reconciliation going on? Of course not. The only reason why they're pulling this stunt on us is because of the word that has been given to us by the white folks of this country, which is the word black and also African American. Those words have convoluted who our ancestors truly are. They were stripped of their identity. Most of the people that were enslaved in America, as I've learned, were from America. They were just reclassified, taken out of their Indian tribe and made over into Negro, colored, mulatto, Afro-American, or slave, or freedman. All those different names. Not one time were we called African back when slave trade was going on. Somehow in the 1700s, that term of African American was included on a document that they never even said where it came from. They didn't even list or name the guy that had brought in the word in some type of documentation to bring it up. And then later you heard of a guy by the name of Richard, last name starts with B, but he had an African American church. I think it was called African, what was it called? Modesta, what do you call it? Methodist, I think, Methodist church. Hold on, let me see if I can bring that back up. And that was during the time of the colonization of American colonization society back in like 1820. And because of how that term of African American was so upsetting to the bulk of the people here in America, they made that guy take down that name because they heard that calling yourself African was getting you deported to Africa. And so people told this guy to take down using that word, and history shown that the bulk of us never ever wanted to go to Africa, even back when we had a chance to go, because we knew, a lot of us knew, that we weren't from there. And that's the thing that people don't want us to talk about. Methodist, how you spell it? Methodist. See if I can bring that up. AMC Church. But y'all gonna have to get over yourself, because we're not going to ever include ourselves to being called African. We got to find some people that's going to side with us to understand what is happening against us. His name was Richard Allen, I think. Hold on, make sure this is the right guy. But like I said, he was talking all high and mighty about that term African American, but when it hit the fan that they were being deported to Africa, They changed their mind and stopped calling themselves that. That's why that term went away for hundreds of years. Hundreds and hundreds of years that word went away. And they're trying to revamp it as if it was a popular term and everybody loved to be called that, when that was never true. And now we're having the same issue right now, where Africans are claiming us to be African so that they can take away everything that we have accomplished and all our inventions and all our music and everything that's attached to us. They don't want us to have our own shit without them claiming that they have some right of claiming it too. These people are vampires. These people are disrespectful, demonic individuals. And I don't want none of us to have anything to do with these types of people. Like I said, Africans, if they want to deal with the likes of President Mahama and take a chance living over there and being under his jurisdiction or rule, that's on them. But the issue I'm having is that it's looking more and more and more like people don't expect us to tell them fuck off. They act like we don't have a right to say fuck off. And we're not their people. So this is what I mean about we need to go after Ghana. We need to go after Ghana. Stopped using, hold on, let me see. African American. During 1800s. Why? Because people like to bring up the portion of what they would like to be read about. Let me see. It says Bishop Richard Allen actually did not stop using the term African. He was one of the most prominent defenders. But again, the AI sometimes be tripping. Okay, hold on. Did the general public refuse to be called African when freed slaves, hold on, slaves were deported to Liberia. You gotta say this AI thing sometimes be doing its own little thing. You gotta say a certain way to get the information that you're trying to get. Because I had got this information before and now they're acting like they're playing dumb. Yes, it says the rise of the Liberian colonization movement caused a massive backlash against using the word African among freed Black Americans. Hello, for those that keep on talking about there was a church named African Methodist Church. Richard Allen coined the term. We all were happy to be called that. No, when we understood that word was getting us sent away, we said, we don't want to use that name. We're not African. What the fuck? It says, when the white-led American Colonization Society, ACS, was founded in 1816 to deport freed Black people to Liberia, the free Black community viewed it as a hostile scheme to expel them from their native country and protect the institution of slavery. To combat this, they intentionally shifted away from African to terms like colored or Anglo African to assert their birthright citizenship in the United States. Most of them would have wanted to be called colored or Negro. My point is, we have always rejected African, even back when it was favorable to go back to Africa, because many of us never wanted to go. We saw it as a scheme. As I'm telling you today, it's a scheme going on in Ghana. Ghana's running around trying to act like they are doing things right by Black Americans and everybody's loving on one another, while you see South Africa act a fool right now. And of course, eventually it's going to hit Ghana eventually with all these, I think they said there's about 5,000 Black Americans in Ghana, if that. Let me see. I was praying that there would be a flood or something in Ghana today. Let me see what it says. Oh, hold on. Arthur community hit by severe flooding after heavy rain. So they did have some heavy rains. I wonder. Hold on, let's play this real quick. Because I was praying for more rain. I wonder who did pay for that Juneteenth to be over there in Ghana. Hopefully nobody. Hopefully nobody. But while I'm at it, could you guys please hit the like button? You said, did you hear what the African actor said about the Southern? Oh yeah, that was despicable, man. I that's what I'm saying. We don't want to deal with these people. These people are outrageous, man.
Have been inundated following heavy rainfall that left classrooms and sections of the health facility flooded, disrupting academic activities and healthcare services. The floods have left students, patients, and residents stranded, while several homes and farmlands in the community have also been affected. The residents attribute the recurring flooding to the community's proximity to lagoons and rivers, which they say have become silted over time. They are therefore calling on authorities to dredge the water bodies and construct larger drainage systems to improve water flow and prevent future flooding.
The situation that we are in now since, let's say, from Wednesday, this is the situation we are seeing. When you look at my back, that's the residential area or the nurses' residence or adult health center. As it is now, because of the flood, we are finding difficult. The nurses or medical officers are finding difficult to render medical service to the people of adult electoral area and beyond.
Can see the water has married my house, my everything. You can see my Akuko and Kitty farm is over there. The water has carried everything away. So that's how I'm affected. Oh, he just came overnight. Yesterday, it was yesterday, a day before the Ghana match. Yeah. So we were seeing the water somewhere around the back of the house. So after watching the Ghana match during the victory celebration, the next morning, what I wake up to see is water marrying my house.
Mr. President, thank you so much for leading the way. I'm so happy that reparation, you have now taken the mantle and you have brought us all together. I'm so happy to be here from Jamaica, from CARICOM. Prime Minister Martley, isn't this a wonderful feeling and experience for us? I was so moved today. But we have a presentation for you, Mr. President. Your armed forces came to Jamaica and assisted us after Hurricane Melissa, the most devastating experience that we've ever had from a disaster. And there are two of them. The second one is coming. Second one is coming. And your team assisted us in building 2 huts at the Seville Heritage Park. Now, the Seville Heritage Park is where our 4 cultures meet. The Taínos, who were the first inhabitants of Jamaica, the Spanish, the British, and our African brothers and sisters who were brought as enslaved people to Jamaica. So at that location, all 4 cultures meet. And so there was an African village there in the early days. And your team assisted us in reestablishing the African village by building 2 huts and creating an African garden. And I thought we would bring photographs of one of the huts and some of the artifacts that was left with us. I want to acknowledge Major Shem and Colonel Aisha, who led the team. And so it's my pleasure to present to you today, Mr. President, these two images. Thank you. These two images, and for you to hang them wherever you choose. But we want to thank you so much. Hold it with your left hand.
Thank you. From the Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport of Jamaica to His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana, with gratitude from Jamaica to Ghana. Oh, I can hear the Ghanaians applauding. Thank you very much. Can we do the second one, please? No? Fantastic. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much.
Let's go. So, Mr. President says I should inform you that he will graciously donate the artifacts to the Ghana Armed Forces to celebrate the team from the 58th Engineers Regiment deployed to Jamaica. So
anyways, they are all in cahoots. All these different Caribbean and African nations, they said over 80 of them gathered there in Ghana to talk about reparations, and the people that they're trying to attach reparations to, they did not have them there unless they were a part of the Boule or the Democratic Party, which I couldn't tell anybody in the audience. Let me see if they were there. Let me just ask the question real quick. I'm pretty sure that some of them did show up. Did American officials also go to Ghana for reparation conference? During Juneteenth. Let's see who came. I bet you somebody was over there sometime Juneteenth day. Okay. Attending the conference in the crowd, there was no, they didn't come. They didn't come that time. They said that they came during the December movement, but not this time. In fact, the United States was one of the few nations to actively oppose the landmark of the UN. But I wanted to see, hold on, somebody had to have been there. The final day, let me see, was NAACP, Congressional Black Caucus or Urban League. Please hit the like button if you have not yet. Democrats. Yeah. It says, yeah, they were there. It says, yes. I asked for any government official. They said no, but it says the representatives for the NAACP and the Congressional Black Caucus attended the summit in Accra, Ghana, while the National Urban League and broader Democratic Party leadership did not send prominent headline-making delegations, prominent civil rights organizations, and Black American political figures were instrumental in the build-up to the historic June 17-19 conference. Yeah, both organizations were specifically listed among the leading international institutions participating in the three-day Next Step Summit. They attended to help advance a unified global framework for reparatory justice following the UN General Assembly resolution passed in March. And a lot of people like to say that nobody's going to get money because President Trump said no. My issue is when the Democrats get in office, will it still stay no? Because they're still acting as if they're pushing it to be given over by the Democrats. This is why I feel like we should sue the Democrats, because again, they're not representing us properly. Nobody told them to go link up to Ghana, claiming us to be a part of their reparations claim. Nobody told them to claim our ancestors. Nobody told them to represent us as a people. The Democrats have done this. So they're the ones that are causing and inflicting undue anxiety and anger that we are experiencing today. A lot of us are very, very upset about what has been going on behind the scenes without our consent and without our say. Our narratives are being drowned out by these stunts that this president keeps showcasing on social media. And they're running away with this notion of what he's showcasing as if it's what we all are on board about. And we're not. And it's my opinion that we have to show a distinct front against what this President Ghana is doing and have proper representation to call it out. So for those that have been wondering where I've been, I have been on TikTok. I go by the username 4black00. If you go on there and put 4black00 in TikTok, my channel will come up. I have a little bit over 500 subscribers already. And I'm looking to get 1,000 people to join forces together that's of the lineage that's been here for generations old in this country, to get representation among us collectively so that we can make a move towards showcasing our narrative and our defense against what Pan-Africans, Democrats, and the Ghana president is attempting to do, which is hijack us as a people, hijack our history and our reparations, again, without nobody saying anything about it being good. Okay. Did you hear what the African actor said? Oh, yeah. Yes, I heard that. I did. Now, did you hear about Larry Reid? Speaking of which, I think I've talked enough about President Mahama. For those that are serious, that want to be in the know of what I'm doing, especially if you're a Black American, I will be going live on TikTok probably the end of June or the beginning week of July. I'm just trying to make my rounds to be more known, and I'm telling people what my intentions are moving forward. And I have been in contact with one lawyer, but I am looking to cold call next week in hopes to make an appointment with a lawyer. And once I secure a lawyer, we're going to have a couple of people that will also talk to the lawyer to get validation about what it is that we need to do and how much money we need to collectively get together to secure a lawyer on our behalf, so that we're just not watching all these things done against us and not have any type of defense. That's my goal. I want a cease and desist to the president of Mahama. I want a cease and desist to the Democrats, to the NAACP, to the Congressional Black Caucus, and everybody needs to be put on alert that they do not represent Black Americans, and that if others feel differently about what they're doing, they want to be on board, they need to individually sign up with them collectively and have at it. But you cannot just force others that don't want to have nothing to do with you to basically being bothered with you. That's not cool. I don't want to deal with any past slave trader, and it's my prerogative. If other people want to believe these people that they believe that they will never snake them again, that's on them. I just believe that what you know about somebody does matter, and how they're moving right now is showcasing that they ain't never changed. So they need to be up out of our business and out of our life. So yeah, Larry Reid. Let me show you what this is going to be unbelievable. Larry Reid is a so-called pastor. And because of what's been going on with Trump and a couple of unalivings, you know, of course, what's his name? The Austin meth calf that got unalived by Carmelo Anthony, and the fact that he was given 35 years when just the other week, a Chinese guy unalived a 14-year-old, shooting him in the back because he thought he stole some water, and he gets no time. And then there's a white guy that shot up a family reunion. By the grace of God, nobody was unalived, and that somebody was there with a gun to shoot the shooter. But do you guys know the shooter got out of jail just with a $5,000 bond? So we have a lot of stuff going on that is not cool, and white people are showing their ass as far as supporting racist people and rhetoric, and it's getting really tenseful out here. I really want to know what's going to happen after the birthright citizenship comes up, which is coming up the end of June and the beginning of July. And if that birthright citizenship is snatched away from hundreds of thousands of people, there's going to be a backlash. And I do believe it's going to be a lot of us being harmed or made a scapegoat behind them feeling very effed up by what Trump could be doing when that birthright citizenship is snatched. But because of those things, instead of this black so-called preacher talking about us getting, you know, legal representation and joining forces together, he wants to tell us we need to leave America. I just want you guys to hear this shit. Oh, you have seen me already? Why don't you hop up there, Sheena? I'm glad you're there. You need to sign up to my TikTok, okay? So I can know you're there.
And the conversation that we've been having in our closed community this month, the theme has been mastering the juxtaposition. And we understood that June was going to be a month where we're going to see things bloom and things boom. And that is what we are experiencing as a community and as a people, especially if you are here in America. And I hope that you have the capacity for some of the things that we're going to be discussing today. And I hope that while you are listening and engaging in the chat, that you will begin to have new thoughts, new things will come into your mind that haven't came into your mind before, and that you'll leave here with a more expanded consideration for your life, the world that you are in, where you are headed. Not just you, but those that are coming behind you, your legacy, your children, your loved ones. What are you leaving here in the earth for them? And I think that considering this conversation, first thing in the morning, you probably just woke up if you're on the East Coast in America, And if you're in the West Coast, you're in the wee hours of the morning, early morning around 5 and 6. This is a great time to listen to content and information that expands and reshapes the thinking and the consciousness. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to sort of set your week. This is the first day of the week. I like to call it, it's the 8th day of the week. The number 8 means that it is a transitory moment. It's the beginning of a new beginning. And 8 is also tied to wealth and health and prosperity when you begin to double it or triple it. And 3 8s literally mean Christ. And what is happening with all of us is that Christ consciousness is happening. What do you mean, Larry? Christ, the true Christ, if you read all of the writings concerning him, you will realize that Christ was teaching empowerment or empowerment and uncovering your power and then becoming a beacon of light and good in the world. And we understand that we must do that if we want to say that we are disciples of, followers of Christ consciousness. So no matter the industry, the location geographically, that is what we do where we are, the world that we're in, according to our gift, our ability, our placement. And we know that that's divine. So I know that today's conversation can set your entire week psychologically, mentally, financially, and emotionally, because we're in the first place of the week. And whatever you say to yourself in this moment, whatever you say to yourself today is going to affect your future or the next 7 days. So I want you to participate. I want you to be open. We don't want to argue in the chat. We are on the main platform for right now. I may stop that midway. And open your heart and your mind and just have a conversation without any expectations of needing to adjust your belief system or any of those things. Let's just have the conversation. And I guarantee you, if you do that, you will at least leave the moment thinking. Mastering the juxtaposition. June, bloom, and boom. We're in it and it's happening. We're in the throes of it now. But I want to connect this to the conversation that came up virally from clips that were taken from our live last Sunday. And I want to talk about the Black Exodus and explain it more so that you can then be an advocate in your world and tell everybody that you know about what we're going to be discussing today, because we're going to talk about the Black Exodus and how it is a juxtaposition that we must master. There is a Black Exodus happening right now, whether you know it or not. I didn't start it. It just started happening on its own. When you look at the information, there is a mass Black Exodus that is happening right now.
If that's true, why won't he encourage the illegals and the immigrants that are melanated to go? Why are we always being scapegoated and told that we need to exit America? And just one person is insinuating this, and I've seen this video about 5 or 6 different times on other platforms saying Black Americans want to exit America. Just because his bitch ass, this Bootsy boy, down low punk, wants to say it so, others are just running with the story, acting like that's what we need to be wanting to do. And that's why I say we got to get somebody to represent our words and make it so to where we'll never, ever get confused. Because as it stands, anyone can say anything. And now it's millions of them are exiting. Millions of Black Americans want to leave America and go to Africa because this one prissy looking bitch right here, this down low punk, this gay ass pastor, which I would never ever follow or listen to, has the nerve to be forming his mouth talking about there's a black exodus. Again, listen to this shit. I couldn't believe this.
On this, when you look at the information, there is a mass black exodus that is happening right now. And it's not just black people that have decided to leave America. I did a 6-part series, and maybe 5, called The Exodus. You should go in the playlist on YouTube and watch all of it, just to get the language and the clarity. Even some of the dates I shared that already happened, it's all over there. Because we looked up in the heavens astrologically and saw a pattern, and we were able to see certain things and prepare ourselves before we got here. Now what we're discussing here is not only happening right now, but it's going to continue to happen over the next few years. And you need to know your placement, your posture while all of these things are happening. So the black exodus, or an exodus geographically, is already happening. But there's an exodus that happens in the person that decides to make their life different than what it is. And that happens in the mind. And at that moment, that person who makes a decision to be better, do differently, and move differently, that person is thrown into a juxtaposition. That means they're in 2 opposing realities. I'm going on a diet to lose weight, but right now I am fluffy. Right now I have more weight on me, but I'm looking into the future. And between where I am and where my goal is, I am going to have to master the transitory period, the in-between, the becoming process. I want you to know that you are becoming something different. You're becoming something different. Our world is becoming something different, and everything around us is changing. A couple of years ago, when I began to talk about the global shift that we were coming into and that was already happening, I talked about nothing and nobody will remain the same. You cannot hold to sane and stay sane. You cannot hold to same and stay sane. Whether you realize it or not, you are out of your mind. You're out of your place. If you're trying to hold to what was in a time where the future is demanding a becoming and a coming into what should be, must be for the collective. So we're going to have the conversation. I hope you're already ready for it. We're going to play a couple of announcements, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to get right into talking about the juxtaposition. I'm going to give you our base scripture, which is coming out of the Gospel of Thomas. Yeah, we're going to look at saying number 22 in the Gospel of Thomas, and then we're going to move forward. Are you ready for that? If you're ready for that, I want you to put in the chat that what city and state that you are in, and then put behind it, I am ready. Okay, we're about to get started. I'll be right back in just a little bit. The Black Exodus, Mastering the Juxtaposition.
Again, he's been propped up to do this. Sheena just said that he went to Ghana back in 2024 and 2025. So he's being propped up to do this because they're trying to give the illusion, y'all, that all of us, many of us, desire to leave America, and that if they change laws or try to, attach us to Africa, that most of us will be down for it. This is called Propaganda 101. And this is what I say we have to confront and deal with, and not disallowing others to have their narrative out in the open, and on our narrative being buried. I mean, yeah, we're speaking outright on social media, but we're not doing a lot of stuff off of media. That's why it's given the illusion that the vast majority of us, when people say really reckless and stupid stuff, that we are okay with what is being stated. And we're not. And last but not least, the other reason why we have to get a lawyer is because of Pan-Africans. Pan-Africans are really, really vile individuals. They don't think that we should have a right to represent ourselves. They be doing the most. I want to give you guys a good example of what I mean. This YouTuber by the name of Real Truth and Power have this clown on here who calls himself some type of doctor. I don't believe he's really a doctor, or if he is, he's a lame ass one. But nonetheless, they're so upset about us delineating and calling ourselves what we desire to call ourselves without other people forcing names on us that he's going to crash out on this video. I'm going to let this play a little bit and I'll be back.
On these shores. So just to put that out. But nonetheless, we come together as a Pan-African family and we do great things in the community. Everything from, it's a wellness center, everything from your mental to your physical. And we can also fill your belly up with some goodies. Diaspora and soul, Jamaican and American fusion. So that soul is that American, African-American soul and that African-Jamaican soul.
Hold on, Doc. For those that don't know, Friday, during our convention week of the UNIA, we'll be having a panel discussion at your spot. And so they're going to be able to taste that good food. So, you know, it's supposed to be a lot of people coming, and we want the city to come too. That's going to be packed. I'm just letting you aware of that, Doc. So, you know, just give you, it's going to be a little packed. But before you go, there go the Kofi Cocoon. He won't say a word about non-FBAs disrespecting and undermining FBAs, but he got a whole bug up his a-hole when FBAs clap back. That's exactly what FBAs are doing, clapping back. You're not clapping back, we're clapping back now. Go ahead, Dr. Dog, go ahead.
So when you, I think it's essential that we speak about this idea of delineation and how they mean it. Like we define what they mean by it, because it tends to be confused by many. Although I think that most of us are right still, they want to disconnect. But really what they're saying is they want to delineate, they want to distinguish themselves as Black Americans, different than those who are Jamaican American, those who are Nigerian American, those who are Trinidadian American, so on and so forth, right? So they're like, and part of the conversation has been that it's because they get to take benefits and rights from us as people whose ancestry that have been enslaved here in the United States. And that sounds very, what's the word I'm looking for? It seems on the surface, it seems like it's not harmful. And a lot of people can even agree with that to some great degree. But the problem is this: what they call delineating and saying everybody else is delineating has already been done. The fact that most people know when they say African American, they know who you're talking to. That's why when you say you are an African American, our Trinidadian, our Jamaican, our Nigerian American brothers and sisters, they know or Nigerian brothers or sisters, whether or not they're here, or our Jamaican brothers, they know what an African American is. And if there's some loose usage with all types of ethnic ethnonyms, you know what I mean? So African American is specifically the group of people here whose ancestry came from through chattel slavery. And they have all this debate around, and it was created with that intent. And also when you look through academia and you look at journals and all that, typically that is the definition that you get. So the fact that they think that ADOS, and that's going to be an ethnic marker, is problematic. Who's going to walk around calling themselves ADOS? I'm sorry. Most sane people are not going to be calling themselves African descendant of slavery. Who, with any righteous thought in mind would even think to give us such a ridiculous ethnonym? I'm going to walk around calling myself an African descendant of slaves? Are you crazy?
Oh,
but nonetheless, hold on.
You're going in, Doc.
So then you have their more scutterbutt version of them, FBA, Foundational Black American, which is a lot more catchy. And that's why you have lots of people. Whoa, a little dude just hurt himself. You all right? All right. Ooh.
I thought you was in trouble there, Doc.
I did too. They out here for me. They out here for me. My Baltimore people out here for me.
You ruffle a lot of feathers, Doc. You ruffle a lot of feathers.
So who's gonna walk around calling themselves ADOS, and then you have FBA, which is more of a devolution of ADOS, and FBA is headed by Tariq Allah Nasheed, as Tahaka Bey says, and this fool gets to walk around. I don't call people fools, but I call him one. You got what I'm trying to say? I will call him one because he is hurting our community. I want to go back for a minute though, and I understand our elders, and I understand even those of us that say save your energy for the struggle. You are fighting the struggle. That's the problem that I want to make very clear. That when you have traitors amongst you, you must deal with them. And we also must understand that...
Hold on, Doc. Say that again.
When we have traitors amongst us, we must deal with them.
Hey, guys. Back to the playground again, huh?
Yep. You know what this playground could use? A wine country.
Heck yeah. And some waves. So we should go.
That's what I say.
What?
That's what I say. We have got to deal with these clowns. We have got to deal with Ghana. We have got to deal with the Pan-Africans. We have to deal with the Democrats. We have to deal with the NAACP, the Urban League, the Congressional Black Caucus. All of them are 10 toes down on being anti-Black American and trying to force us into this mindset that we got to unify, basically be under the authority of Africans. And that's not what I desire to see us do. That's not what I desire to see us be dealing with. These people are not worthy of trusting them. They're not good for their people right now, so they cannot be good for us ever. That's why we need to control our own narrative and get in front of these people that are making fun of us and making light of our plight to stand 10 toes down and be ourselves as American. This is what they're upset about. They thought about all these years and decades of them talking about Pan-Africanism was going to wear us down and wear us out. They thought with all the indoctrination of African-American history done on the college level was going to convince many of those people to convince us that we are from Africa and we're African. And none of it worked because we know better. We've been listening to our fathers or grandparents or other people in the family that has filled us in on the true essence of what happened through our history and how we were forced into an identity that we could not shun away because the government enforced it on us. They kept changing our names, kept changing it so much so to where we were locked into the word Black and locked into the so-called notion of being the African American. And now you see Africans and Caribbeans and other Pan-Africans running around claiming that they have the same identity as us. They're trying to erase our identity here in America. They're trying to flatten us out to where we're not a people and that we are like they are. Like while they can keep their own individualized identity, their own individualized culture and customs and heritage, somehow for us, it doesn't translate to have the same freedom and liberty as everybody else does. And the reason being, like I told people on TikTok, is because these melanated immigrants are jealous of us not being regulated and being dominated by a melanated person. Like every other group of people are dominated by their nation. Haitians are dominated, even though they did have their president unalived. Now they have a old, I guess, police officer that's went rogue, and he's a part of a gang or whatever, and he's unaliving the people, and all kinds of atrocities are happening over there. Those people cannot see the end of the tunnel of what's going on over there. Then you go to Nigeria, look at the mess they got going on over there. They still shitting out in the street. They have all these grown-ass men from all over the place, over 200 million people, and they cannot build their roads, their buildings, plumbing, electricity, grid, because their president does not see fit to get any changes to really happen because he's comfortable. And that's the mindset of most Africans. They don't want to do the struggle. They don't want to put the work in. They want everything done for them by somebody else that's going to be willing to sacrifice themselves on account of them. And this is why this Pan-African talk is about us being sacrificed for the greater good of all these other melanated people. That's how they look at us. Like, you guys have a lot more than all of us have. Why can't you help out with your money? Why can't you build up Africa? Why can't you go over there and do something? Why can't you share your expertise with us? All this wishful thinking on their part about us, but they don't turn that around to incite this critical thinking on themselves. They don't say, well, you know, Mapambo, whatever the names they'll have, you've been gone for 40 years, you're an engineer, you have a big house, you have money galore, you send all these remittances back home. Why you won't come back and do what you've been taught to do here in Nigeria, for instance? They're not bothered. Those people that have fled and been gone and successful, they're not being bothered one iota. Instead, we are the ones that's being picked to be bothered, pestered, bullied, scapegoated to do the job that they refuse to do for them. And we're not willing to be those people. We're not willing to be sacrificed for y'all. We're not willing to go to Africa and take a risk and a sacrifice for y'all. No. We're not African. We're not coming to Africa, and I don't want no connection to be asserted on me. Therefore, I got to figure out a way to find somebody that's going to make it so. This is the point of me bringing out what I've been talking about, because today is Juneteenth, and instead of it just being a Black American holiday there in Texas, and some of us that celebrate it out of the celebration of what's going on in Texas, now you have all these melanated people that are now scrambling about, talking about they can celebrate it too. Scrambling around trying to make money off of our history. They don't bat an eye and say that's kind of out of order. No, they don't have respect for us, and they feel like they don't have to. This is why I want nothing to do with none of these immigrants, because they don't give a flying fuck about us. Why should I give a flying fuck about them? It would have been different if they would have been like, you know what? Let me find where these things are going on and offer to buy, you know, some of their barbecue, or give them some money out of the celebration of all the things they've done for us for all these years. No, they don't do that. They only know how to take from us. And that's the way that they want to keep it going. And now we're boycotting, by the way, for those that are not knowing. We're boycotting because of the Chinese guy that unalived that 14-year-old boy and got no time for shooting him in the back. We've had other cases of other Asians that have shot and got away with murder. And we said no more. We're not shopping at a Chinese or Asian restaurant, or where you go get your hair at or get your nails done. And a lot of people are upset about it because the boycott so far has been working. It's been a lot of cases where people are reporting that these places are losing businesses, and we've only been doing it for a couple of weeks, maybe that, if that. But I believe that we got to boycott everybody. Everybody. We should only spend money among ourselves, just like everybody else been doing. Or make your own food and save money that way. Or figure out how to do your own hair. Or call your relatives to help you with your hair. Or find their homegirl that stays home and braids hair. There's ample enough of us that have the expertise to do the things in which you don't have to go and spend $200, $300 to get hair from an Asian and also get done by an African, and you don't spend like $400 or $500 after you get your hair fixed. When you could spend like maybe $125 and do it yourself, or find somebody else to maybe do it for $175. We got to start looking out for ourselves. We got to start protecting ourselves, and we most importantly have to defend and present our narrative that we want to be shown and heard. Because right now that is the problem, that we're talking a lot on social media, but not a lot of people are hearing about our narrative on news media outlets. They're not talking about it in higher up places like the government. Everybody's assuming that we're just cool with everything as it is. And I'm not willing to sit back and just let that be. So stay tuned. When I do find a lawyer, I am going to get a group of like 12 people to get on a Zoom call that I think that's very, very smart, that can also increase the people that will be interested in getting 1,000 of us together. And that 1,000 of us is going to give $100 towards a lawyer. That's $100,000. Everybody should be able to afford $100 one time. And once we have a lawyer, I think things will turn around and we can shake up what everybody thinks they're getting away with doing. That's my ultimate goal, is to shake up what they think they got going and flip this whole thing on its head and have people get pauses on our name moving forward. They cannot continue to do whatever they desire to do once we have representation telling them you can't touch us, you can't bother us. They're their own people. They are American. They don't acknowledge Africa like that. You can't force somebody to acknowledge Africa because you showed up. The fuck? You can't dictate to me what's important to me. Africa has never been important to me, and it most certainly will never be important to me. It is what it is. But listen some more to this Pan-African clown. I just want you guys to understand what we're up against. Because this is the typical Pan-African bullshit that we hear all the time.
With them, do you have individual stocks or 401k or retirement accounts? I have an urgent warning. The SEC plans...
What? Oh, go ahead, brother. Go ahead, Doc. Go ahead, Doc.
You're not going to have unity without holding people accountable. I know we think that we can just kumbaya this thing. And in fact, I'll be honest with you. And this is not anybody, because I always hear it. It's kind of like when I hear people come on and they say, well, you know what, brother, I don't waste my energy doing this. Oh, brother, I don't waste my energy doing that. In some ways, they're saying you shouldn't do it. And then, so the thing is, they'll say they're not fighting, but they're actually trying to convince you. They're debating you not to do it. Why are you debating these people? Stop doing it, President Winchester. Well, if you're not debating the people that I'm debating, you're debating me. Why are you making it? Why are you debating me versus debating them who are about disunity? You'd rather debate me about fighting.
But what I want to see is that there ain't no need for debate. Once you get proper representation, you can hand out cease and desist, and people have to just sit in their corner and talk shit about what we've done moving forward. I want to end the debate. I want to end the arguing. I want them to be pissed that I had my hands involved with barring them to bring our name up anymore, barring them to having anything else to say about Pan-Africanism anymore. Because once we get representation, it's over. It's over. Then they can just cry and moan about how in the world did they go get representation? And now, you know, we gotta, it's like, dude, you have ample people every single day religiously talking about Africa. Surely you can have the conversation with those people. Surely you guys can move forward with going to Africa. Surely y'all can move forward and gain money among yourselves and do something. The issue is we're the agenda. That's the issue. It's not about nobody else but us. They want to keep browbeating us until we are broken down, hopeless, disgusted, and forced into whatever it is they desire us to be about. And I don't want to see us allow that type of activity to happen around us. I think that we can get ahead of that. A lot of smart people are out here, especially on TikTok. And the right people can say the right type of words to really get this thing going and shooken up. And then once we are protected class, ain't no telling what we'll be able to do by then. Once we get our go sign to go, and we are included as a protective class, the sky is the limit on what we can do with our money. Every month we could put money towards this and that and other things. Maybe we can put money towards helping each other out that are in trouble. Maybe we have somebody out of that 1,000 that needs help with homelessness, or maybe we have a vet that needs to be housed somewhere, put up in a motel. We can have a little extra money on the side. Every little bit of money would help out certain issues that we have, and we could treat each other like a family. That's how we used to be, y'all, and we can be that way again. And I think we should start with 1,000 people, and if it increases after that, the more the merrier. But I don't think that people will join blindly, and I think that until we have a core number of people that's willing to be down for the righteous things of what I'm talking on, the doors will open, the eyelids will open, and people will start understanding what I've been saying all this time. And what I've been saying all this time is that we are a targeted group. We've been targeted since forever. Ever since the American Colonization Society tried to get freed slaves to go to Liberia. It's back again in another form in Pan-Africanism. It's never changed their goal on what they've been trying to get us to do. It's just the name of it has been changed. That is what Pan-Africanism is. It is a colonization of us to Africa. They're trying to change our history and change everything about us and attach us to Africa. And the only way that can stop that if we make a pledge to work together to stop it. That's the solution. People say, what's the solution? Get a core number of people to support an agenda among yourself and enact that. Make it happen. And then once we do one thing, the sky's the limit of how many other things people can create and make up to do. Once we have trustworthy people within our group of people, talented people, there's some people that are paralegals, there's other people that are very articulate writers, and you know, a lot of people have a lot of education on history. A lot of people have done their genealogy to show proof that we have Indian ancestry. And we just need to have like-minded people that have a lot of other gifts to add to the table to help our narrative stand strong against all the propaganda of Pan-Africanism and lying ass Africans. Because they don't mean no good by us, not even a little bit. They are here to take us over. They're here to undermine us, and they're here to keep us downtrodden and broken. Because if we stay in that position, fragmented, down, broken, and confused, all these other people will come up and rally together and take us over to the point where we can't say no. That's how they've been moving. And the only thing that has gotten in the way of that is Trump. That was like the wild card. Nobody seen coming. Nobody saw Trump doing all these deportations and calling out all these illegals and all these scams that these illegals and immigrants have been getting away with doing. Because we've been the poster child of all the things going wrong in America. Everything was a Black American fault. Remember, Joe Biden said the country's not bad just because African Americans. Remember, he said that shit in front of a whole host of Black people in a conference call. And not one of them said, excuse you? Not one of them said, you can't say that. No, they were submitted and they were bitched out because they have sold out and they're happy to serve wicked people because they have a better life living that way. They have a nice car, they have a big house, they can go travel whenever they want. They have money to get out of the bank whenever they desire. So we get sold out for those types of trinkets and treasures and monies that people can get. I'm trying to get righteous people in my corner because God still is alive and kicking, and he's activating me. And I hope that I will be activating some of my people as well. Sheena says Pan-Africanism is a cult and they worship Garvey. Yes, they are a small portion of the community, but their voice is being listened to and involves separating us from America. Exactly. There's probably out of the percentage of 100, there's probably only like 20% of them that's actually a part of Pan-Africanism. That's a Black American. But they link up with all these globalists and they link up with all these Pan-African Black Americans, and they are heard loudly, like the likes of Roland Martin. He's a Pan-African goofy. Then you got that Crump guy, Ben Crump. He's a Pan-African too. That lawyer that goes around helping people out once they have been unalive and getting all those monies that he gets. He's a Pan-African. He's a citizen also to Ghana. So I have to make sure, I hope to find someone that's not Black because I don't think I can trust them because I don't know what loyalties they have with Democrats or other Pan-Africans or Africans. I don't know. So I hope that God will bless me with a white guy that's a white American that would just take our case and represent us in a professional fashion. That's all I'm asking for. So with that being said, I don't want to be on here long-winded. I've been gone for a little bit, but I thought I would come back. Unless you want to see some more of this right here, I'll play a little bit more before I go.
For unity. And what you are doing, and we don't have to argue about unity. We don't have to do all these type of things, but we can identify problems in our community. And maybe we can do better at times of keeping our cool and keeping ourselves regulated and all that type of thing. Because these brothers and sisters are our brothers and sisters, but they're hurt. So we have to be prepared. We have to be able to have...
and they're making up lies. We're not hurt. We don't want to be bothered. I'm not hurt. Unless I'm being bothered, then I'm hurt. I'm annoyed. I'm being gang-stalked. Nobody likes to be gang-stalked. We're being harassed. We're being vexed. A lot of us have anger issues behind all these people always constantly coming to us about Africa. We're sick of it. We want these people to just go do what it is that they claim they want to have done. They keep on arguing with us because they're trying to change our mind, and we told them we're not interested. It's like a man that takes a woman out on a date. He wants to have sex. She told him she's not going to have sex on the first or second date. He's trying to convince her out of her own judgment of what she's decided for herself because he feels like he should have sex because he spent $100 for dinner. But the thing is, once a person lets you know, no is no. We told Pan-Africans no. We told Africans no. We're telling Caribbeans no. We're telling all of y'all the way we have been our whole entire life. We are willing and able and desiring to stay the way we've been. We want to go back to when it was like the 80s, when Africans were ignoring us and we were ignoring them, and we went on about our day like nothing was going on. We want to get back to those days where people mind their own business and they just gather up their own kind and they go do what it is that they desire to do. Stop continually harassing us, stalking us on social media. That should be considered a crime. That everybody is constantly having titles of Black American and African American in the title. Ain't nobody else got to deal with this. I don't hear about Mexicans being targeted. Asians don't even get targeted. Nobody gets targeted. Just Black Americans. It's ridiculous. So with that being said, I appreciate everybody coming on. I, again, am on TikTok more than ever. I've been over there now for a month. If you want to find me on TikTok, find me under the number 4. I'll put it in the comment section. It will be number 4 and then black 00. Then that way you can find me. I will be going live on TikTok for the first time, either June 30th or the first week of July, either or. I want to work first couple of weeks looking for a lawyer first before I go live, because I really want to have something new to talk about when I do go live. I don't want to talk about the same thing over and over and over again. So that's why I'm going to take a little time before I go. But I appreciate everybody that has been here, even though it's not that many. I think I clocked out at the right time because I'm not supported like I should be. And now I have gone to bigger horizons and the platforms are much, much bigger over there. So I'm not mad about that anyways. I'm not mad about it anyway. Sometimes you outgrow stuff. And I think that I have pretty much outgrew YouTube. So there I am, 4black00 on TikTok. I don't know when I'll be back on this app again. Maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks from now. I don't know. But again, you can find me on TikTok. I'm on a lot of different platforms talking and conversing with other people, trying to get the feel of everybody's lane and what they talk about. And also even the people that's on there trying to hunt us down. And oh yeah, definitely message me. If you know how to work the TikTok app when I go live, maybe you can tell me some things, key things to do. Also email me on anything you want me to talk about, or unless you have other things to talk on, Sheena, I would appreciate it. Thank y'all for coming, and please like and share the video, and bless up. And happy Juneteenth. Be safe. Don't drink and drive or none of that. Please be safe. And again, look out for crowds and stupid people, because you know, people be looking to unalive people for really, really crazy reasons. So just be careful out there. God bless y'all. Peace out.